Most of you know about such mechanic. When you're getting too close to the wall, your character puts down his weapon. So for example, if we take some SMG, we can get much closer to the wall. So today I'll talk about which things affect weapon size and which attachments you should use to make your weapon shorter. So the first and the most obvious thing that affects your weapon size is barrel. So if we take M4 with the longest barrel, we can get to the wall on this distance. And now let's try with the shortest barrel. And now as you can see, distance became a little bit shorter. Next thing that affects weapon size is muzzle devices. And the best example to show it will be the sniper rifle. If we take L115 for example without suppressor and look down, we don't have any problems. And now let's try to do it with suppressor. And now you can see that character puts down his weapon. And there's an important thing about muzzle devices, that size of muzzle devices also affects this mechanic. So for example, if we take some long suppressor like this one, so that's the maximum distance we can get to the wall. And now let's try with shorter barrel. And now we're standing to the wall much closer. So we can make a conclusion that barrels and muzzle devices affect your weapon size. But some of you might wondering, what about stocks? Do they affect weapon size? Because for example we have such stock, which is really long compared to CST stock. And I tested it in such way. So we have two screenshots with different stocks. And we can see that line stays in the same place. We just have a little bit difference because on second screenshot for some reason character looks a little bit higher. We can definitely make a conclusion that stocks don't affect weapon size. Now let's talk about attachments which you should use to make your weapon shorter. First of all, let's talk about barrels. Probably will be useless for open world players because you better stay with the maximum velocity and range, since it's really important. But for PvP you might actually need a shorter barrel. Let's start from HK. It has 11-inch barrel, and if we look at damage, it has one tap potential up to 247 feet, which is pretty enough since 249 feet is the maximum distance. You probably will never shoot on such distance, so it's more than enough for us. But there is thing that you will need 3 shots in body instead of 2 with a longer barrel. But talking about longer barrel, you can kill with 2 shots on the distance up to 155 feet. And there's another important thing that it's pretty hard to hit the body hitbox since arms cover most of it. So I wouldn't say that you really need to pay attention to body damage. So for HK we can use 11-inch barrel. For M4 we can use almost the same barrel, it's just a little bit longer. And to use this barrel we need to put this handguard. This barrel has slightly longer range of one tap potential, which is 249 feet, and also it has the same thing with body damage. For MK18 we have only 2 barrels, and we better stay with the longest one because it has really short range of one tap potential, which is only 120 feet. So we better stay with longer barrel. Next weapon is a K101, we can use short barrel as well, but also we have the same thing, that we will need 3 shots in body instead of 2. You can see that it has 50 damage, which should be enough for 2 shots, but actually damage drops so fast that even on really close distance you won't be able to kill with 2 shots in body. For K103 we can use short barrel as well, and we don't lose anything here. For Scarel we better stay with longer barrel, because the shorter barrel that we have on Scarel is even worse that we have on MK18. And same thing goes with the K5C, because we have even shorter barrel. Next weapon is MK17. In this case we better use medium barrel, because with shortest barrel we won't be able to kill in arms with 4 shots after distance 84 feet. So we better stay with medium barrel here. And the last weapons are M110 and A3 version. And they don't have any problems on distance which we have in PvP, so we can use short barrels for them as well. And that's all about barrels. Now let's talk about attachments. And since we stopped on 110, first of all let's look at flash hiders. This flash hider will be the shortest one, but you can use this flash hider only with this handguard. And talking about suppressors, this suppressor will be shorter than this one. For weapons based on a cape platform, DTK2 will be the best choice, but if you want to use suppressor, DTKP Shorty will be the shortest one. For weapons based on AR-15 platform and also Scarel, this flash hider will be the shortest, but if you want to use suppressor, Socom 5F6 will be the best choice. For GCT6, if you want to use suppressor, we don't have any options, we have only this flash hider and only one suppressor. But if you want to use flash hiders, this one will be the shortest. And yes, I finally fixed flash hiders for GCT6. And the last weapon is MK17. Flash hiders have the same size, so it doesn't matter which flash hider you use, but talking about suppressor, this one will be the shortest. And that's all for today, but if you want to compare weapon size with different attachments by yourself, and at the same time you don't want to use Photoshop like I did, you can do this. For example, when you change muzzle device, you can see that weapons move slightly to the right, so when weapon moves to the right side, it means that its size got reduced. And when it moves to the left side, it means that it got bigger. You can notice it easily when you're comparing a muzzle brake to some silencer, for example. But what to do if you want to compare suppressor sizes, because it's not really comfortable since you need to put flash hider firstly and only suppressor after that. So we can do it like this. Let's rename this loadout to first build. this one to second, and this one to test. So let's take Gen4 for example, let's put some suppressor here, and now let's move to second build, we choose the same M4, and then we need to click paste from, and we need to paste from our first build. So now we have the same build, and here we need to change suppressor. And after that we are moving to test loadout. Then we need to paste from first build. And that's how we can compare the two builds. Now let's paste from second build, and we can see that it moved slightly to the left, which means that weapon size got bigger. So that's all for today. If you found this video useful, leave a like and some comment. It helps a lot with video promotion. Join my Discord server with builds and tier list. If you really like my videos, you can support me at Boosty, and see you next time.